Hello, Africa. Hello, world. Tell me how you're doing and welcome back to another LinkedIn live stream. I'm so happy to connect with you. I've been on personal break for the last 2 weeks. So if you are watching and you've been trying to reach out to me and you haven't seen any responses, I'm so sorry. Just been spending a little bit of time with family and friends. Anyway, today is all about you. If you're a student, if you're in the graduating class of 2020, or if you're already a young professional and as an alumni, today's show is all about you. Welcome to the stream. I hope you've got questions ready. I hope you can hear me. Tell me where you're watching from and shout out your university so that we can recognize your university, your college, or your institution. I've got a special guest for you today. I've decided that on this particular show, we're going to be looking at the African perspective and the US perspective. We're talking about global opportunities. We're talking about remote work. We're talking about skills that can transcend borders, times, and even the challenges that we have right now. Just checking in if I've got my man Rob on the stream. Rob, can you see me and are we connected? As we give people time to connect up onto this and to start shouting out their universities and where they're watching from, I'm just going to invite a special guest to join me so that we can have this discussion, which is all about you as students, so that you as students find better ways to craft out a career strategy and access economic opportunities. What do you need to do to get internships? What do you need to do to network better? What do you need to build a brand that speaks about your aspirations, your passions, your future, and of course, the things that you aspire to do? Rob, I don't know if you can hear me and if you're connected. If you are connected, Rob, give me a shout out. You've got the connection to the link. I hope we've got you on right now. Let me just go back and make sure that we've got Rob on as you all join and as you all start beginning to share your perspective. Rob?
Stewart, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Got you on mute. Hold on a second. There you are. The power is within you, Rob. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
I can't hear you still, Rob. Hold on a sec. Oh, we're just getting a bit of teething problems right here. I don't know if everybody can hear Rob. Rob, just say something for us.
Yeah, Stewart, I'm here, man. Hopefully you could hear me okay.
Oh, I still haven't got you, but I'm just going to do a quick test with my phone right here and make sure that our online audience, guys, if you're listening and you're watching online, just give us a sound check and a test to make sure you can hear Rob and you can hear myself so that we can get started. Hold on a sec. Oh, we're just getting a bit of teething problems right here. I don't know if everybody can hear Rob. Rob, just say something for us.
Yeah, Stewart, I'm here, man. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Oh, perfect. I'm just going to do a quick test. Perfect. Perfect, Rob. We're connected. I can't hear you on my computer. I'm going to try and switch that on. And hopefully we don't get feedback. Can you hear me, Rob?
Yes, Stewart, I can hear you, man.
Oh, perfect. And we're not getting any echo?
No echo.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, Rob. Thank you very much for waking up 7 a.m. in the morning to connect up with us and share your perspective of all the engagements you've been doing with students, with career services professionals, with alumni management professionals. We want to hear your perspective of what are some of the things students can do to access jobs and access economic opportunities, like speaking engagements, like mentorship, like coaching, like planning, like, of course, doing remote work. The world of work has changed. But before we even get into that, Rob, I want to ask you, what's your headline, man?
Listen, my headline is right here on my mug, all right? It's dream big, do work, and have fun. It's that simple for me, Stewart.
I know, but say it one more time, bro. One more time.
Dream big, do work, and have fun, Stuart. And by the way, that vest, I gotta get one of those. Where's that coming from?
Oh man, I'm a lucky man. I'm a spoiled man. My wife makes clothes and she's in the fashion industry, so I've been getting custom African clothes because I'm a firm believer in personal branding. I've got my Rock Your Profile hat today so that again, when we do sessions like this, I am memorable for the audience that we're speaking to. Number two, the Africa brand, my passion, my love. Oops, my wife might be watching. My second love, Africa, all the time, every day, all day. Rob, it's so good to have you on the show. And of course, like we said, you run a series called Get Hired, which helps people understand how they can access economic opportunities. We've got a couple of people online today, and we're going to be giving shout outs to the people that are following us. People like Emmanuel, who is one of the top 100 most influential global HR leaders. Thank you, Chris Murevi, public speaker, and of course, professional in building high performance teams. We've got Albanus from Kenya Airways. We've got CS Aori watching as well. We've got a lot of people online. And guys, I want to give you all a special shout out. But more importantly, I want to answer the questions that you have around getting access to jobs and getting access to opportunities. I've got my man Rob online, and we're going to be talking through a couple of concepts that have to do with, of course, getting access to economic opportunities. Before we get started, Rob, just to get to know you a little bit better, what are you most thankful for, my friend?
Listen, I'm most thankful for life every day when I wake up and meet the sun rising. I'm mostly thankful for that. And of course, my family. I've got a wonderful family, a wife, and 3 children.
Right.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Blessings, celebrating life. And thank you very much for giving us a little bit of insight about yourself. But we're going to scoot right over to talking about, of course, where people begin their journey on LinkedIn and how they begin that, of course, is by creating a personal brand. So I wanted to pick your mind on a couple of topics. We're going to speed through them because we've literally only got 60 minutes and there's so much to talk about. Number one, when it comes to building a personal brand on LinkedIn as a student, my number one advice is be authentic. Why does that matter?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the authenticity piece it's a great word, but it matters because you got to differentiate yourself. I mean, I think it's this simple, Stuart. You've got a bunch of recruiters, hiring managers, whatever, looking at a lot of profiles on a list. And just imagine that list and where you sit on that list. And more specifically, think about people's headlines, for example. You know what I'm talking about, Stuart. You're in talent solutions, right? So you see the list and everyone says, I'm a current student or I'm a, student. Maybe think about saying something different. Like I'm an aspiring DJ. I'm an aspiring computer programmer or whatever it may be. So I think that's a real good starting point is, for authenticity is like figure out your headline. What is that? For me, I've already described that, but that's what the starting point should be.
Excellent. I love that headline. Headlines should be good, should be clear, should be confident, and should use terms that people are most likely to search for. And like you said, you should have that flexibility to say, data scientist by day, DJ by night.
Yes.
Because after all, they're trying to understand you as a human being. So why are you hiding that side of your personality, which could actually be the spark of a new conversation? Right, moving on to the next thing when it comes to building our profiles, there's one which has become a bit of a pet hate for myself because I look at so many profiles, I work with so many recruiters, and one of the things they keep talking to me about is, of course, the fact that a lot of people use buzzwords, collaborative, team player, self-motivated, confident. How do we avoid these buzzwords and actually use words that have impact? Give me your impression, Rob.
This is my pet peeve as well, Stuart. Like the whole buzzword thing. The easiest way to do this is just go look at profiles on LinkedIn of other people that have a similar, thing. Maybe the people in your class, for example, or people you aspire to work for, or whatever. Go find a list of people and look at their, look at their profile summary, for example, and you're going to see the same shit. You're going to see the same stuff over and over. Just avoid all of that. Don't use those type of words. Use more aspirational language about, what you're trying to accomplish in life. Or think about a message that's very unique to you. If you look at my summary as an example, I'm a salesperson, right? You know that it just says I crush quotas and get things done. Like in a nutshell, it's very direct and specific. So you got to just get at it. And to your point earlier, just be yourself. Melding your personal and your professional, especially when you're a student, it's a great time to take these risks. You have nothing to lose. Don't follow the herd. Don't follow the herd.
Don't follow the herd. As much as we spend quite a bit of our time during university years, of course, partying and celebrating life as it is, don't follow the herd. Seek to be visible. And seeking to be visible starts with you building out a consistent, professional, personal brand. And I say consistent, and I don't want to use it lightly here, because this is a marathon. This requires you to be consistent in terms of the content that you're pushing out and not to expect results within the first couple of days, first couple of months. What's your opinion on that, Rob?
Well, I think here's the trick to this whole thing, Stewart. It's like pushing out content. A lot of people don't know even what that means or how to do that. I think it's worth talking about. Think of something you're passionate about. For me, it's like I like to help students. So I spend a lot of time, probably 80% of my time, posting or talking about that in the LinkedIn feed. Most people don't even know that my day job is a sales rep, right? It's very important to me to focus on one topic and become the expert on that topic, or just be excited about that topic. So my advice would be to pick a topic and stick with that as your primary thing you're going to talk about. Don't have, go back and forth on the different topics. You got to kind of stick with one theme or maybe two themes at maximum. Hopefully that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. Of course, in terms of let's talk about the things we know best rather than topics where we're not comfortable. So if, for example, right now with all this COVID information going around, or even anything to do with the social injustice, if you're not an expert in that area, then steer clear from those areas because you will be called out for it. Okay, perfect. I love it. Of course, when people are on LinkedIn, we're trying to encourage them to build networks. And if we're thinking of a student or someone who's currently in university, in college, in a final year before they graduate, or has already joined the work world, how powerful or how necessary is it for us to build brand associations?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's super important. It's the only way to set yourself apart. Like, if you're going to really do this right, you've got to set yourself apart in an interesting way. I see a lot of students, at least here in the States, they kind of create what I call support groups. They're all in this group together, like, hey, what should we do? Like, how are we going to differentiate ourselves? But that's not really a good strategy, or shouldn't be your main strategy. Your main strategy should be find people who already have like killer profiles or awesome jobs or things that you think you want to be doing, and then sort of, steal some of their work. There's nothing wrong with stealing some good ideas from some amazing profiles, and they're definitely out there. You've got to stand apart when you're in school or just graduating or about to graduate, whatever the case may be, especially now. It's becoming more difficult to find the work.
I love it. So you leverage your network to understand how other people are branding themselves, how they're telling their stories. Leverage your network to connect with colleagues, people who have been studying with you, to connect up with the people who have been teaching you, to connect up with the places, with the people you've met when you've done internships and volunteer work, your classmates, your colleagues and others, so that this will help you get access to new economic opportunities. If you're just joining, thank you very much for joining us. We're 16 minutes into a 60-minute session with my man, Rob Humphrey. We're talking about, of course, what are some of the best practices and tips for college, university, students, graduating classes, and of course the alumni to access jobs and economic opportunities. So if you're just joining us, feel free to ask questions, of course, on the stream, and to ask questions so that I can bring these up to Rob's attention.
Oh, yeah, you got to have the questions, Stuart. I mean, you bring those questions on. We love those, right?
You're so getting ready. You're walking into it, but let's cover the basics real quick. So, tailoring your LinkedIn profile to align with your goals. If you're a student and already you have some idea about where you want to work and what you want to do, when you start tailoring it, there's a couple of things that I think you need to do, and I'm going to call them out and ask you, Rob, what do you think is the most important one? So number one, get clear on your audience. Number two, use a headline to broadcast your ideal job. Number three, post a photo. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're all important, Stuart. If I had to pick one, I'd say the photo. I mean, clearly, if you don't have a photo, it's going to be a tough road ahead.
Yeah.
Got to have the photo. It doesn't need to be fancy. You don't even necessarily need to be wearing a suit. You should look professional and smile. That's really it. Don't have any of your buddies in there with you. Just you smiling, looking appropriate. That's it. It takes 2 minutes. You got to do that. If you don't have a photo, get one now.
Get a photograph because that will help you stand out. So no baseball caps, no puppies, no prom photographs, no photos with mom and dad, even though these are super important. This is your professional platform and your professional network. I'm getting some feed here and questions coming off the stream around how you can create a headline as a student that doesn't make you sound thirsty. Yeah, I hope you get that expression about thirsty is a casual term for looking desperate. You tell me, what kind of headlines should we be thinking about as students?
So listen, I see this all the time. The first step one is get rid of your headline as it is, because I'm guessing that it says I'm currently a student, or I'm currently looking for opportunities, or I'm a student about to graduate. No one cares. It's a great accomplishment. It's a great thing that you're doing it. But what I want to see is like, well, what are you bringing to the table, right? You don't even need to mention the student thing. You need to get that off your headline. I'm an aspiring computer programmer. I am a person that gets things done and is looking to bring my, create a headline that's basically your pitch. And just make it simple, or just make it nebulous, like dreaming big, or aspiring to change the world. Puts anything but I'm a current student at, or I'm desperately looking for a job. Create some interesting headlines so that people can help you stand out. Stuart, you know this, but people over index on your headline, on your picture, and to some extent your summary. So the headline is actually really important, but don't over-engineer it. Just put something in there and then change it every couple of weeks and see what works best.
I love the fact that you brought up the change it. This is not a static environment. This is a living, breathing, digital environment. It's a billboard that shouts out, hire me for the love of God. Hire me because I'm passionate, I'm good, I am super focused, and I can deliver, and I have proof points of my deliveries. So when it comes to your headlines as a student, don't overthink them. The best student headlines promote who you are and what you want to do after graduation. So go out there and dream big. In terms of showing some passion, as I've been doing already on the stream, Rob, how do students go out there and show their passion for certain areas of the industry, or certain skill sets, or certain areas of the business that they believe they can come and dominate and change and transform?
Listen, this is the most fun piece of establishing your brand as a student or a young professional or early career person. This is where all the opportunity is. You can literally show what you're into, right? Or what you're great at, or you can show things like how collaborative you are. And let me tell you what I mean by this. You can simply, even in school, let's say you're doing a project with a couple teammates, a couple classmates, take a picture of that, show you guys working together. Put yourself in a position where it looks cool. I mean, you and I took a picture, a little selfie, obligatory selfie, And I've already put that in the feed on the event page. Why did I do that? It's a legacy of my work, but it also shows you I'm always hustling. I'm always trying to help out. So figure out a path and then start posting. It could be something as simple as a picture of you doing work, a picture of you in your isolation cell during COVID times, whatever it is. Start to get that imagery. One thing I do on my profile is I post almost every day of something that I do before work, like I go out in my bamboo, I meditate, or I try to meditate, or something work related, like I'm doing a presentation or whatever. And I always beam those in. And I tell you, people love that. There are a lot of comments, a lot of interaction. It keeps me fueled up. It keeps me excited to keep going on. So my advice would be think of imagery or create imagery. One of the things that students talk about is, well, I don't really have anything. I haven't had a job. Sure, you're doing stuff though. If you haven't had a job, you've certainly worked probably, but you've definitely done a project or some classwork with a team, more than likely. So you can easily show that off with media, pictures, videos, that type of thing.
Excellent. So show your passion.
Show your work.
Show your work. Do work, like you said, right?
Love that.
If you were to think about it, right, some people try and think of LinkedIn as your resume, etc. But I'm going to humor them for the sake of this message. So if LinkedIn is your resume in terms of showing your work experience, showing your education, etc., but it's a lot more than that. But if you had that as an analogy, then the things that you post and the articles that you write, those now turn out to be your cover letter. This gives credibility to your passion for that. This gives credibility to you being insightful, innovative, to you looking at things from a different perspective and being able to communicate that openly and broadly and soliciting feedback from everyone, and now using that to break off a conversation with a hiring manager or a recruiter or somebody else that you might be looking to get into partnership with. So, going to take a bit of a breathing break right there and talk about networking, because it's super important we talk about networking, because it is as a direct result of networking that this particular show came together. So, right. On camera, for the first time ever, I'd like to acknowledge my friend, Usman Job, who put this together, connected the dots, put me together with Rob, and next thing you know, Rob said yes, and now we're enabling students across continents to find economic opportunities. So, Usman, thank you very much for connecting the dots.
Usman, man, we love that dude. He's a good dude.
Excellent. So let's talk about networking on LinkedIn, right? So the more you complete your profile, the more likely you are to reach up to 40 times more opportunities. So the members who complete their profiles just get access to more opportunities. So this is not a static environment. As your career changes, as you learn new things, you need to add that to your profile. Why is that important, Rob?
Listen, Stewart, this is where the rubber meets the road here. The profile is the table stakes. Like, you've got to have your profile. We've covered that. You're an expert in that. Networking is everything. Right. And two things I want to say about networking. Number one is the vast majority of students, probably everyone on this call that's a student, they're never going to do these two things. And I want to challenge everyone on the call to do these things. The first thing is write a message. It's okay to connect with people, especially people that went to your school. Don't be scared to write a message. Don't be scared to write a post. Don't be scared to ask for help or connect. The second thing is alumni, right? I don't know if you've gone over the alumni tool, but if you're in school, and it doesn't matter, what school you're at, find the people that you're in the class with and connect with them. That would be the first step in networking, is make the first 25 or 50 connections. You don't need a lot of connections with people that are in your inner circle, right? So, connect with people that are, connected to your family, connected to the classmates that you have. Start early building a high quality network, and don't be scared to ask for help. You've got to get out there and start, connecting and trying to make real connections in this world, this virtual world. You have to go and do it. You can't just hope that people are going to connect with you. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it definitely makes sense. Start by connecting, of course, with the people you've studied with. Connect, of course, with the people that helped you get to where you are. Start by connecting with family, friends, and of course, start connecting even with the people where you do remote jobs, or you're doing volunteer work, or you're doing temp work. In terms of doing temp work, I want to put it out there. There's no shame in doing some of these types of jobs that you might not have studied for and might look as elementary to you, but you got to work your hustle. You got to do work. It's time to shine. Rob, tell me about working that hustle, taking on delivery jobs while you wait for that big job and that big break to kick in.
Yeah, listen, I talk to a lot of college students, and it's here it is. You wouldn't be the first student ever to work at like Taco Bell or the coffee place or delivery driver or courier. You wouldn't be the first one. In fact, everyone's done this. I was talking to my son, who's hopefully, God willing, going to graduate college soon. And he's been in there a while, Stewart. I'm not going to lie. But I told him, he said, well, what do I put on my profile? I worked at Taco Bell and I worked at the pool, as a pool guy. I'm like, put that on there. People know who Taco Bell is, or if you worked at the coffee place, put that on there and describe the experience. People love that. People can connect with that. I mean, think about it, Stewart. What was your first job, right? My first job was mowing lawns. I mean, that's not on my profile, but you get what I'm saying. Everyone started somewhere. So yeah, don't be ashamed. Put whatever you have in there and highlight it. Make it interesting.
I love it. So if you're just joining, as I see Emmanuel's just joining on the stream right now, Emmanuel, we're talking about how students can hustle and get themselves access to economic opportunities like jobs. And we were just speaking about, of course, building out your profile as a student and saying that include your summer jobs, include the unpaid internships, include the volunteer work, include the work you did for the student organization. All of that adds up to experience, and you never know what might catch someone else's attention. Rob, if we were thinking, and of course as we're speaking to students and graduates, and particularly the graduating class for 2020, if you were to speak to them right now in terms of giving them your elevator pitch of what are the 3 things they need to do as they celebrate and receive recognition for their investments in learning. What are the 3 things? Make it a fun one, Rob. Got you on the spot
here. Listen. Here's the 3 things. First of all, if you're graduating, you're in the class 2020, congratulations. Take the time to celebrate. Like, I know that's not going to be easy right now, but take the time to figure out some way to celebrate, however that is. Maybe it's via a virtual chat or whatever, being distant, or however you do it. But take time to celebrate your accomplishments. It's a big deal. Number 2 is continue to dream big. All of these people telling you that you need to go and, be an apprentice accountant for 5 years and then move into some other role and then eventually work your way up the food chain. That's all a lot of bullshit. You can completely continue to dream big and have big goals while you're getting paid, right? Or whatever you're doing. And the last thing is do work. Like I always say this, it's my little tagline. It's actually, most people think I invented it. I did not. But I'll tell you what, it's like you got to do the work every day. It's painful sometimes, but if you stick with it, you're really going to set yourself apart, especially with some of the stuff we talked about, leveraging LinkedIn, getting in there and sort of describing what you're up to. And by all means, if you've graduated, get out on LinkedIn and acknowledge that. It's very important. So that's what I would say is, celebrate. You got a big accomplishment, do the work, continue to do the work, and continue to dream big. Like, don't lose sight of that. Really important.
Love it. Lots of good advice in terms of how to recognize yourself and, of course, to recognize the people that have supported you to get to where you're at right now. And, of course, to dig down and do the work. I love it.
So you got this guy, Emmanuel, on here with 20,000 people following this career expert. You got a ringer on the phone here, I see. You got some really good people in the audience.
some amazing people in the audience. Emmanuel, special shout out to you, and of course a special shout out to everybody else that's following. Thank you very much for joining us. We're talking to students, of course, about how they can go out and access economic opportunities. I want to move over to, of course, how people can use LinkedIn to find jobs and to find internships. But leading into that, I wanted to lead with some data. And the data that we've got right now is based, of course, on what we're seeing on LinkedIn, what are the trends, and this is, of course, global data that's aggregated, the top 5 skills that companies are looking for as soft skills that possibly our students should focus on are: number 1, creativity; number 2, persuasion; number 3, collaboration; number 4, adaptability; and number 5, emotional intelligence. Rob, you in sales, you work with people. As we talk to our students right now, what's the superpower in those 5 key skills?
Yeah, so listen, I think these skills are, I mean, it's great that we track this stuff. I think the thing is they're all easy to sort of identify, but they're easy to talk about and sort of highlight. And the most important thing I think here is creativity. Everything I read indicates, beyond our data, indicates that this is the most important thing. I mean, look what we're doing. I mean, I'm not a big live streaming guy. I don't know about you, but it's like I'm trying it. I'm just going for it and doing it. This is an example of highlighting, creativity. You could do this in a lot of different ways, right? But the key is not just trying to get the skill, but actually showing that you've, made an attempt at it. Maybe it's something like, this is a pet peeve of mine, Stewart, but a lot of people go to school and they want to be in marketing, social media marketing or digital marketing. And by the way, that is a area, if you go into that type of area, you can make really good money and you don't ever have to go to an office if you're great at it. So what would an example be of, say, 1,000 kids, students, right? And I'm an old guy, I can call them kids, right? If you think about it, like how could you differentiate yourself as a marketing graduate? And I think it's really easy. So you've got imagine a line of like 100 marketing students in line to hand off their resume or LinkedIn profile. And then imagine one person that ahead of being in that line, they sent a copy of a link to the infographic or the graphic design they did, and they put it on LinkedIn. This has actually happened a number of times. And I'll share a quick story if you want.
Yeah,
I did a talk last year at NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I live, here in the States. And it was about 500 students. They were all about to graduate. And one woman said, came up to me and said, Rob, here's how I differentiated myself. And she created basically a simple graphic of the company she was interviewing for. It was Cisco Systems. And she ended up getting the job. And the reason for that is she set herself apart way ahead of applying or interviewing. So imagine she went into the interview and they had already seen examples of things she could do, right? Wow. Here's another example, by the way, Stewart. Mm-hmm. Simple skills.
Right.
Like collaboration. You can demonstrate that easily, right? You're in a class with people, you've done a project, maybe you created a PowerPoint, whatever it may be, show that off and be like, listen, I've done this stuff at work or at school or at work, either way. And this is an example of it. You've got to show the work. Once you show the work, you're in a whole different mindset in terms of a recruiter or hiring manager. And that's the most important thing. You've got to think that way. That's your audience. How do you make their life easier? You show exactly what you're capable of. That's simple.
I like it. In terms of that whole showing your work, I think we've got a question already on the screen where someone has said, how do I document my side hustle so that it gets recognized and turns into a main hustle? I love the language we're getting today. So how do I document my side hustle so that I get it to be read as my main hustle? So the do work.
I'll tell you what, I'm struggling with this. I got to tell you, I'm struggling with this myself. So my side hustle has been, it is this do work project. That's my side hustle where I want to create basically a library of content, mostly video, that answers questions that people have about careers, especially young people. In fact, you and I should partner on this, but I'm having a struggle. Like, showing that off because I'm so focused on my job day to day. So I think that, what I see successful people with a side hustle do is they just go for it. There's people, a lot of ex-LinkedIn people that I know, for example, that, they've written books. They have really amazing podcasts. They have one guy, he started a sock company. People have gone to do all these different things and they've just made it happen. I think that's the biggest thing is, well, you just have to do it. And I'm not a great example actually, because I've been in this like zone of like, how do I do that? I think the answer is find people that have done it well. And shoot, I've got a bunch of examples I'm happy to share. But you just got to go for it and, not be ashamed of it and be proud of like this side hustle. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So I know that's not the greatest answer, but I think the thing is you got to just get the guts to do it. And I'm actually thinking like, why am I not really going for it? So that's where I'm at.
I love it. We're going to get you to go more for it, and I'm happy to partner with you and happy to take on any new challenges. I've embraced the power of yes, which means my initial reaction to everything and all opportunities will be yes. Once I'm in the room, I'll make a decision on whether I need to stay in the room. But in terms of my initial approach is to say yes, because they say opportunity knocks but once. Who knows if that was the opportunity that was available for you to network and meet somebody? Yeah, sometimes you have these random meetings and then you have these random connections that turn out to be some of the most powerful connections you will have in your career and in your life. And speaking of random ones, one of the things I encourage students or graduating students or alumni to do in terms of keeping yourself busy and putting yourself out there is to join and to volunteer for social impact activities while you wait to get a job. Because as you do those activities, you're naturally going to have a conversation with someone who will say to you, what is it that you do for a living? And right then you have an opportunity to give your elevator pitch around what is the aspirational career you studied for and why you're doing what you're doing now and how you're impacting society. Volunteer experience, Rob. Have you got any stories for us?
Yeah, it's super important. So you don't need to go nuts and list a dozen volunteer experience just to list them. That's not the goal. The goal is actually to do the work. Pick something that you're passionate about. Everybody has something that they're focused on, or if they're not, maybe they should be to help the greater good. I've got a bunch of them. I do stuff that's sort of, more strategic or advisory for people that are nonprofits that are trying to help people sort of in the mental health genre. My wife's a therapist. So simple things that you could do is like teaching people for me, it's like teaching people how to use LinkedIn. Like there's a lot of companies, nonprofits that they don't even know the resources are available. So simple things like that, but getting that and those causes that you care about. I'm a big, person that's focused on the environment. I'm a big snowboarder. I'm a winter sports person. So I definitely care about protecting our winters, and I support those types of organizations that care about climate change, for example. And what you'll find is that when you're really embedded in this type of volunteer work, even if it's simple, like I'm talking about, you'll find that people will connect with you. So other people who've read my profile know, like, I'm really into winter stuff and mountains and protecting the environment. So that starts a conversation without anyone caring about where I went to school or what I'm doing now. It's a conversation vector. And that's the most important thing is, it helps you. It's an easy way to connect with people that have a very like-minded interest. And you'll find that LinkedIn and the algorithms will do a lot of this work to figure that out. But causes matter and volunteering matters. You've got to have that on your profile, but you also have to find people that have the same kind of interest. You'll be amazed at the discussions that will come up that you're not even thinking about now. Fascinating, really.
Love it. Your experience section includes your internships, your extracurricular activities, your part-time jobs, and as Rob just said, your volunteer work or projects that you've given that have given you real-world experiences. So make sure to add them because you never know what is going to capture the minds of the hiring manager or even the minds, of course, of the recruiters. Rob, I've got a question here coming through the stream in terms of what can I find on LinkedIn that will help me prepare for interviews or build a resume, since you said LinkedIn is not a resume.
What is the question? What tools?
Yeah, what tools have we got?
I think, well, I'm not going to share my opinion on resumes. I just think, like, what's the point of those? I mean, are people still using resumes? Like, I don't get it. But, you know, on LinkedIn, I think the tools are really like the alumni tool, for example, is my favorite tool. I don't know if everyone knows about this. I know you do, Stewart.
Give us a headline. What is the alumni tool?
Yeah, man. So if you go to your school and you click on your school's page, you will find on the left-hand rail alumni, and you click on that, and you're going to see essentially the career paths of everyone that went to your school that's on LinkedIn, which hopefully is a lot of people. And this becomes really useful. It's basically the largest longitudinal study of career outcomes. So what you're looking at is the future. Right? And when I graduated school way back in the days when, you know, we used abacuses and stuff in the 90s, you know, there wasn't a lot of this stuff available. But now you could get in there and be like, listen, Rob, I went to Ithaca College in upstate New York. And every once in a while I could go in there and say, well, who, for example, works at LinkedIn that went to the same school as I did? Turns out 10 people did. And I know each of those people because I've connected with them. So the alumni tool is a very powerful feature that allows you to basically see people that you went to school with, that did your same field of study or degree program, and where are they now? And that is the most powerful thing besides knowing someone at the company that can hire you. It's the most powerful thing you can use.
Leverage the network, grow your network. And of course, we want to have impactful networks that really matter. It's not a popularity contest. It's not about having the most number of connections. It's having connections of people in your industry, people that you aspire to work for, people who can coach you, people who can mentor you, people you studied with, people that you know personally, so that the feed that you get on your LinkedIn is based on the content that is coming from these people. So if you have too many companies you follow or too many people that you follow, the messaging starts getting mixed. Remember, it's all algorithm based. So what you want to do is make sure that you've got quality over quantity in terms of who you follow and who you connect with. And going back to the question that was asked, on LinkedIn, if you go in and you click on the jobs menu, once that loads up, you will see an option for more. There is two things you can do. One is interview preparation. So that is available for you to try with a machine-based algorithm, which will give you answers that are preferred. And of course, you can check against the answers that you've given or share that content with someone else senior, a career advisor, and say, here's how I answered. What would you suggest I should do in terms of improving it? The second thing, if you insist and if the country you're in still insists on having resumes, then guess what? There's also a resume builder that is built into it. But that's, of course, depending if you still are using that. There'll be some courses we're going to be sharing at the end of the session. We're 45 minutes into a 60-minute session. Rob, thank you very much for waking up at the crack of dawn, New York, to answer these questions.
45 minutes, that's going fast, Stewart. Man.
I know, we're going to have to do a repeat, and maybe we do it on your LinkedIn Live. How about that?
Yeah, I'm down with that because I could use a guest. I did last 2 weeks of my show. I haven't done anything, so yeah, I'm gonna be taking you up on that. Maybe we'll call Osman too. He owes me. You got to help me out.
You're my first guest from New York, so congratulations. And guys, if you're online, show Rob some love. He's answering our questions. And of course, speaking of questions, I've got a question here that's just come in. Of course, greetings to Andrew, to Paul, to Charles, to Emily, to Roy, to Ben Tandy, all these guys who are watching. But I've got a question for you, Rob, that's come off the stream. What are the 3 tools you would recommend that students invest in to grow their network, their reach, and their influence? So I guess here people are talking about phones maybe, or, cameras, etc. What are the three tools?
Okay, so that's a pretty general question. I don't know who's asking that. It's a good question, though. I mean, listen, I think the tools are probably pretty simple to grow your network. It's really number one is learn how to write. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I've found myself lately at LinkedIn doing a lot of internal and external communications more than probably ever, email and that type of thing. And you've got to get good at this. And if you're not, you can learn it. I'm in the process of taking some courses and trying to figure out, like, how do you write better, have good grammar. So one of the tools I'm pointing out here is like Grammarly, or one of these apps that's on the web where you can actually ensure that you have decent writing when you're communicating, especially early on in your career. I got to be honest, I'm not great at it, but I'm trying to get better. It's super important. Growing your network is about communicating effectively and hustling, of course. I think the second tool that I would say is, not really something to invest in, but just be cognizant of, which is like how you appear on when you're doing a video call in particular. I think this is something that's relatively new to a lot of people. And obviously, listen, I live in North Carolina. Most of these people here they're not wearing their masks. It's driving me nuts, but they definitely don't know how to communicate via video. I mean, I get on the call sometime with people and I'm like, it's simple stuff. Like, you don't have to be a video expert, but learn how to do a video call. People should watch what you're doing, Stewart, and other people that are doing this stuff. It's really important to communicate well verbally and non-verbally, especially when a lot of the stuff's going to be on video. Interviews, for example, you've got to master that. Very important.
Digital body language masters as we all transition, of course, into this new era, even just where your camera is positioned, the background that you have, how clear you are in terms of people being able to hear you, the echoes in the room, the lighting. All of that could impact your video interview, and we've got some courses and content we're going to be sharing at the end of the session that will help you prepare for it. So you're not going to be alone. We're here to help. LinkedIn Learning has generously opened up some content for you as students to prepare you to use Zoom, Skype, Teams, to prepare you to have digital body language that speaks volumes for you, and in terms of how to position your camera and other things like that. So definitely stay in tune with this particular session that we're doing so that you get those experiences and some of those tips that we're giving. Rob, what is the best way to showcase your work experience as a student?
Imagery, 100% imagery. And what I mean by that is not just underneath your summary, but particularly underneath your summary, because that's the first thing recruiters look like. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you scroll down to your summary and you'll see the ability to put images. Look at my profile as an example. You'll see that I have a carousel of images. I change it every week. I have a calendar invite to myself. I go in there on Friday and I add a new image. So if I did a new show or I wrote a new thing or something cool happened, I was thinning the bamboo, whatever the hell it is, I put it in there. So I have this running list of imagery on my profile. And then underneath my actual work experience, I always have at least 3 images that show me, not necessarily just me, but like doing work-oriented things. I like doing a lot of speaking, public speaking, which has been difficult because we're not in person anymore. I have pictures of me delivering speeches, that type of thing. You know what I mean? So whatever it is, create the imagery. And then once you've done that, make sure you look at the mobile device, because 85% of LinkedIn users, including all those hiring managers and recruiters, they're just on mobile. They're on their phone. They're looking at your stuff, and you've got to know what it's going to look like. So if you look at my profile as an example, like, you'll see that I've architected so it looks pretty good. Like, I know what you're going to see when you look at it. So just to backtrack, imagery is key. And I'm just talking about pictures. It doesn't need to be anything else like that. And it could be metaphors. One of the things I rarely see students do for some reason, by the way, is put a cover picture behind the main image of your profile image. That's like an album cover. You should definitely be putting that behind there as well. So that's 3 things, that I focus on, which is what does it look like aesthetically? Because the brain is going to be triggered by what they see, not out of the gates what they read.
Perfect. I've got one there which I try and encourage with people is two, in fact. Number one, not everybody on the platform uses your business language, which could be English, for example, as a national language. So I urge you and I encourage you to use subtitles where necessary, because this will help make sure that our accents do not prevent us from being understood and that people understand what we're saying. Number two, as I said, subtitles is number one. Number two, where possible, and if you are doing a live event, let's have sign language interpreters, because it's all about, of course, increasing the diversity of people bringing into the workplace, because our customers or our stakeholders and citizens that we're going to serve are diverse. Number two, it's of course making sure that we're more inclusive of course people who are differently abled, and making sure that they're also receiving the messages that we're giving. And then lastly, of course, by making sure that you have provided accessibility, you give people a sense of belonging. And that's so important in terms of making people feel and understand who you are as a person before looking at just your resume and looking at you as just a potential candidate. So Rob, back to you, my dear friend. We're in the last 7 minutes. We're going to speed it up. How do I think this is more or less the same question. It said, how do I reflect my freelance passions as value-added skills? So the things that I do in my freelance, how do I show them to a business world as value-added skills?
Well, it depends what you're doing. Go ahead and put in those comments what you're doing. I mean, it really depends on that. But listen, anyone that's following my profile knows that I like to do my talks to students. I like to snowboard, and I like to work out in my little bamboo forest in my backyard. Those are three kind of common things. So I highlight them pretty rigorously. And sometimes I get a note about like, no one cares about your bamboo or whatever. And I just stay away from all that. I just stay positive, but listen, I think you just got to have a mechanism where you constantly are, plugging into the feed, and I mean status updates specifically for those who don't know what I'm talking about, like getting into the feed and just kind of highlighting those three things that you focus on. One's purely professional, one's kind of personal and professional. Maybe it's professional or whatever, and then the other one's sort of just stuff that's more either side hustle or whatever. Pick 3 themes or 2 themes and just focus on those. I think that's the way to do it. But the key thing is do the work. Like most people get off these types of live streams or whatever, and they don't actually do anything. Like I want to see what people do. Follow me, send me a note. I'd love to see what you're up to. I'd love to help as well. So get it done.
Thanks for offering to help. And you brought up an interesting one here in terms of you've been speaking to students, of course, across the US and talking to, of course, career services administrators. What's the best way to deal with rejection?
That's a great one. So it's a tough one. It's easy for me to give you a bunch of like buzzwords and stuff about it because I've gone through a lot of that already, right? But you've got to really create a sort of a disconnection between the business world and the sort of regular, normal, personal or emotional world. And I'm not saying to be devoid of emotion, but rather like, think about the business piece when you're reaching out to someone and they never get back to you, or you apply for 100 jobs and you get rejected. Don't go out and start talking about, oh, I've gotten rejected. Stay positive. And we said it in the beginning, like stay up, keep in mind your blessings, be grateful, and always just keep moving forward. It's not the easiest thing to do, but if you get yourself into a pit of despair because you're getting rejected for jobs in particular, you're really going to need to focus on your mental health. And we don't want that. We want you to focus on the goodness. So learn from every rejection. It's that simple, and make light of it. Like, listen, a lot of times you're applying for a job or an internship, everyone's getting rejected except for a couple of people, right? So you're in a pool of people where it's going to happen in, statistically. So let it go, stay positive, whatever you need to do. If you got to get up early in the morning and meditate, if you got to go run a marathon, do it. I'd imagine students in Africa, maybe they're a little bit tougher than these folks out here in the United States. They've got it pretty easy. They're all, mired in their despair. Like, just get out there and stay positive every day. It's not easy to do, but make it your religion.
Make it your religion and study it, because
yes,
emotional intelligence is something that I think a couple of us take for granted. So take the time to study your emotions and how to control them, how to be aware of them, and how to be aware of things like your social influence and your social impact. Because we want you in your best mind frame, so that when you go out there and you get the jobs that you require, you, of course, go and help somebody else. It's all about reducing the network gap. One of the things we'd encourage you to do at the end of the session is, of course, if you found it useful, tag somebody. They'll be able to watch the replay of this session. They'll be able to get some of the insights and some of the tips, and of course, some of the things that we've shared. Number two, there's already an event page. We're going to be posting our tips that will help you find your path and your route to continuous learning. In terms of learning, what we're going to make available to you. So if you are a student, there's going to be how you build a job search strategy, or if you are a student and you've just been laid off, how do you recover from that? How do you build a recession-proof career strategy? In terms of making sure that when the next wave of recession hits, you've got a career strategy that allows you to stand and withstand that pressure. Of course, we're going to teach you how to find a job. And of course, these courses are going to be free and will be in the group, including 10 ways to stay motivated while you're job hunting, as Rob had begun to start talking about. We'll also teach you how to lean into your professional network, and of course, how to improve your interviewing skills, and I already spoke about that. Rob, we're down to the last minute. Any parting words? We had so much we wanted to share. Unfortunately, due to time, it wasn't possible. So the first thing I'll ask you is around the checklist. What are the top 5 things following this session that those who are serious, those who want opportunities, should do? Top 5 things in the checklist.
Top 5 things. First thing is go follow 20 people. Follow someone like Marlene Knight, who's the HR officer there at African Population and Health Research Center. I think she's watching the show. Go follow people like that. You don't need to connect with Marlene, but just follow 20 people, number 1. Number 2, go to your profile and make sure you have a picture and it's professional, right? And number 3 is add the cover profile. That's the picture behind the banner picture behind your profile. Add that in. It's super important. The 4th thing is this list of courses that LinkedIn Learning has made free. They've unlocked them. Go create a playlist and go do those courses. I've done a few of them already. They're amazing and they're free. You're going to learn a lot. And then 5th is put those things on your profile that you just completed, whether it's a course or whatever it may be. So those are the things at the top of my head I would do as homework assignments, right now.
Excellent, guys. There's a lot that you've heard. There's a lot that you've learned. And we didn't get to cover everything exhaustively. Unfortunately, this is just how it is. I would like to reach out to the people that are watching live right now. Let's show Rob some digital love. Of course, click those hearts, those reactions.
I love that digital love thing. That's good, man. I'm going to steal that.
We're going to show you digital love. Like I said, my audience is predominantly, of course, from Africa, and I'm sure you saw when, of course, Jed Fouina was moving on his very last post that he said as he was moving on to becoming chairman was the fact that we need to embrace around the word Ubuntu. I am because we are. So let us each one teach one. Let us help other people learn from our experiences, learn from the time that you've invested in this particular session, learn from networking, learn from the best practices you've heard about. We've given you 5 small key things that you can do in terms of course, helping you connect, which is go and get those 20 connections, helping you have a great profile photograph that's warm, welcoming, and a cheerful smile. helping you, of course, get access to LinkedIn Learning courses that you're going to find in the group where you found the invitation for this event. Getting a background photograph. A picture speaks 1,000 words, folks. You want to have an image that speaks for you when you're not in the room. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And of course, make sure that you start posting out content. There's a lot more that we wanted to cover. There's a lot more we wanted to do. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of this section and this particular first live stream with my man Rob coming out of the US. That's it, Rob. I'm sure we're getting the virtual claps, but you can only hear myself. So thank you very much for agreeing to do this at such short notice. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
I'm happy to be on with you, Stewart. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, man, and I know you also work with the educators as well. I might have forgotten to say it, but some of the free content we're going to be offering will be aimed at educators and career services professionals. So, if you are an educator and you suddenly find yourself teaching and providing content online, we are going to be providing you some key things that will help you, first of all, learn how to practice teaching online. Number two, use some of the common ed tech tools. Things like Camtasia, things like Learning Canvas, things like things like Blackboard. So those are available. And lastly, the common tools that will help you collaborate. Of course, that's the Microsoft product and things like the Google Hangouts product. That's also going to be available for you if you're a career services professional or if you are, of course, the university representative. It's a wrap, and it's been a beautiful one. Mega love to people like Sean, mega love to Peter, John, everybody else who joined. I can't call out everyone, but a lot of people online. Rob, I'm going to let you close it out. Your hashtag is do work, so I'm going to say do work. My hashtag is it's time to shine. So I'll let you close it out with that hashtag.
Yeah, to everybody out there, do work, be well. Be safe, and much love from Raleigh. Till next time, do work.
It's time to shine. Thanks a lot, folks.